The issue is if you are considering these items, you still have conditional language in it. And you will have to address the fact that some of them have conditions, some of them are not a clear yes or no. I mean, just if you,
That's right.
council needs to take the time to look at it.
No.
Because some of them are not a clear yes and a clear no. And
So
you need to at least review those before you go any further with your motion. Because you have to be able to fulfill the condition. Like I said, I don't know, you have three things that they say if. So if is not a yes or a no, so the council needs to look at, like I said, I don't know if you want to take the time and examine these, but they say, it says if, and you can't fulfill if.
Well, I'm going to do it based on the information that we have been given, and that's the only information that we can utilize. One of them says I'm only in favor if the proposed apartments are senior citizens owned and 62 and older. And that's the information that we've been given, is that it's for senior citizens 62 and older. The other one, it says if this is not a plan to simply relocate all of O.C. Collins and Carver Terrace residents. We've never been told this was a plan to relocate any other complex. The other one, there's another one that says, and it's the same thing. And the intent is for 62 and up, and the intent is for 62 and up. So I'm just kind of confused as to why somebody else would be confused about that. And those are the ones that we have.
The three that you have are not clear yeses or not clear nos, and that's the thing you need to look at, because this is where you can open the door to litigation. Again, it's in the council's decision-making authority to determine what you do. But when you say if, and you take it as a yes, or
well,
you say if and you take it as
now in favor. They're saying I'm now in favor. They've checked that out, Val.
Right, but I'm saying be very careful when it says I am only in favor if the proposed apartments are senior citizens only, 62 and older only. You have I would just caution the council on all of these to be very careful how you treat them. Can you fulfill those obligations with the decision that you're making today? When you, whatever decision you decide to make, say you decide to do multifamily, or you decide to do planned development, and you count these in the calculation, you need to be able to be sure that you can fulfill that if with the decision you make. So, that, like I said, the things that I think are problematic are the ones that say if. You know, I think it's problematic that the people didn't say yes, no. By putting ifs in there, I think confuses the whole issue. Like I said, again, it is up to council, but can you fulfill the obligation?
One of them says, I am now in favor if this is not a plan to simply relocate Carver Terrace residents, and its intent is for 62 and older. And based on the information that we have been given, the intent is for 62 and up. And it is not to relocate another complex. That's the only information that we have.
Point of order, Mayor.
Yes, what is it?
I think what the city attorney is saying is that we need to address that in the amendment. We need to document that somehow so that we're dealing with these. We recognize what they are, we're dealing with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I can only think of one way to do that, and that's a PDZ.
Well, you can't make an age restriction in a land use.
In a PDZ.
You can't make an age. Age is not a factor, and that's something that the planning director, but you can't look at age. You can't put a land use restriction and say certain age.
So let's just go back to your previous comments.
And you can't put a land use restriction and say nobody from this side of the tracks can live there. Those three things cannot be considered in a land use restriction. So like I said, the three you have, it's up to the council to determine what they are, but this is where you could open yourself up to litigation on these three. You could.
And that would be how if
because they're not clear yeses and clear nos. I mean, I think something needed to be cleared up with these individuals. They just need to say yes or no. But you can look at it and you can say if means yes. I can look at it and I can say if means no. They didn't give you anything clear. And you can't put in your PD if you're not from such and such a place. You can't put in your PD if you're not 25 or 62. You can't. That's not a land use. Mr. Burton can explain it a whole lot better in terms of land use, but you can't put that in your ordinance.
Okay, I understand that.
So can you fulfill the three
Yeah,
it's
well,
problematic.
the litigation would arise if the conditions were not met.
You can't even put the conditions in there.
Right, we can't address the conditions, but if we, as we understand the proposal, the conditions are met.
No,
The conditions can't even be addressed.
that's right.
Councilmember Scott.
I mean, and I'm not trying to
You
take,
talking-
I'm trying to really look, you have on here a person that's put, if this is not a plan to relocate Carver Terrace and O.W. Collins, how do you address something like that? Because they're not at a point where they can decide that, you
Correct.
know? And so if, you know, the ones that have if are problematic, and the council really needs to look at it.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, and we were about to vote. It's been moved and second that we approve the amendment as stated by Councilmember Freeman to accept those letters that were handed to us from citizens in reference to the proposed development. And City Secretary, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Albright,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis,
No.
Councilmember Scott,
No.
Councilmember Siegler,
Yes.
Councilmember Troy,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Williamson,
Yes.
Mayor Prince.
Yes. So the amendment passes.